You shattered me first, now I guess it's my move. The grease from the burger special is still stuck under my fingernails when I hear her laughing outside, drifting in through the open kitchen window. That laugh used to warm me up from the inside, like everything was still okay. Now it slices straight through me, sharp and ugly, like glass scraping against concrete. My wife, Clara, is standing out in our driveway at 11:30 on a Tuesday night, talking on her phone. And she's using that soft, breathy laugh, the one she used to save just for me. My name's Ethan Harper, and 6 months ago, I thought I already knew exactly what rock bottom felt like. Turns out, I had no idea. Losing my construction company was hard, sure. But losing your sense of who you are, that's a whole different kind of fall. Most nights, I work the grill at a dive bar that smells like stale beer, burnt grease, and dreams that never quite worked out. Leo's place squats on the bad side of Millbrook, our worn-down New England city where the old textile mills got turned into luxury condos no one around here could ever afford. I've been flipping burgers and wiping down sticky tables ever since my business collapsed 2 years ago. Another coffee, Ethan? Mrs. Margaret Nolan asks, sliding her empty mug across the counter. She comes in every Tuesday like clockwork. Same stool. Same routine. And she always tips exactly 100%, not a penny more or less. She's an odd one, his silver hair pulled tight, eyes sharp enough to make you feel like you've been examined from the inside out. Coming right up, Mrs. Nolan, I say, pouring from the coffee pot that's been sitting on the burner since the dinner rush. How's that big house treating you? I ask. She lives alone in an old Victorian up on Elm Street, the kind of house that makes you wonder how many secrets are trapped behind the walls. Oh, you know, she says with a small shrug. Too many rooms. Too many memories. She studies my face a little too closely. You remind me of someone I once knew. Same stubborn jaw. Same habit of carrying pain like it's something valuable. I force out a laugh. Pain's about all I can afford these days. That's when my phone vibrates in my pocket. A text from Clara. Working late again. Don't wait up. Yeah. Working late. Right. It's 11:45 p.m. on a Tuesday. Clara's a lawyer at Porter, Davis and Associates downtown, and lately she's been working late more nights than not. Ever since she made senior associate and started wearing suits that cost more than I earn in a month. Mrs. Nolan notices where my eyes go. Marriage is like a house, she says gently. When the foundation starts cracking, you either repair it or you stand there and watch it collapse. What if the other person's the one swinging the sledgehammer? I ask. She leaves a 20 on a $6 tab and pats my hand, her fingers thin and papery. Sometimes, she says, the best revenge is building something better from the wreckage. That thought is still rattling around in my head when I get home. Clara's car is gone. On the kitchen counter, next to her gym bag, sits a hotel keycard. Marriott downtown. Room 412. She must have dropped it in a hurry. Upstairs, my daughters Lily and Mia are asleep in their beds. 12 and 8 years old. Still believing their parents love each other. I want to protect that belief for as long as I can. But secrets don't stay quiet forever. They rot families from the inside out. I should go to bed. I should pretend I never saw the key card. I should trust my wife of 15 years. Instead, I grab my keys. The Marriott lobby glows with marble floors and soft lighting, the kind of place that charges $20 for a sandwich and somehow makes you feel thankful for it. I park across the street in my rusted pickup and wait. At 12:30 a.m., I see her. Clara steps out of the elevator wearing the black dress I bought her last year for our anniversary. She isn't alone. Ryan Porter, her boss's recently divorced son, walks beside her. He drives a BMW worth more than most houses in Millbrook. Mid-40s. Gray at the temples. Smells like a cologne that probably costs more per ounce than my hourly wage. His hand rests on the small of her back, guiding her like she belongs to him. I sit frozen in my truck, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles bleach white. Part of me wants to storm inside and blow everything up. Another part wants to drive home and pretend I saw nothing. But there's a third part of me now. A darker one. It's been growing ever since my business failed, ever since I started feeling like a guest in my own home. That voice whispers, wait. Watch. Learn. So I wait. They drink. They laugh. Ryan touches her arm. Her shoulder. Her face. Clara leans into him like she's drowning and he's the only thing keeping her afloat. At 1:15, they step back into the elevator together. I wait another hour. Then I follow Ryan down to the parking garage. His BMW sits under harsh fluorescent lights, spotless and perfect. I damage the side of his car in a moment of reckless anger, leaving a mark that can't be ignored. On the back of a receipt, I scribble a note. Hope she's worth the deductible. Petty? Absolutely. But sometimes petty is all you've got left. The next morning, Clara comes downstairs wearing yesterday's clothes and a look she can't quite hide. She kisses my forehead like nothing happened. Makes coffee like she didn't just spend the night tearing our marriage apart one room service order at a time. How was work? I ask. Oh, she says. The Sullivan case is keeping everyone busy. She won't meet my eyes. Ryan thinks we might need to put in some weekend hours. Ryan thinks a lot of things, I say. She looks at me, then really looks, and for just a second, I see fear flash across her face. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I say lightly. Just talking. But it isn't nothing. And we both know it. Something has shifted. An invisible line has been crossed, and even if Clara can't name it yet, she can feel it. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. Someone keyed my car last night. Hotel security is reviewing footage. If you know anything about this, we should talk. Ryan. I turn the screen toward Clara. Looks like your colleague had some car trouble. She reads the message twice. Her face drains of color. Ethan, you didn't. Didn't what? I ask, pouring myself another cup of coffee, calm as can be. Key some jerk's car because he's sleeping with my wife? I take a slow sip. Relax, I say. Just making conversation. That would be insane, right? I mean, how would I even prove something like that? What evidence could I possibly have? Clara keeps staring at me like I'm someone she's never met before. Maybe that's true. Maybe I'm not the man she thought she knew anymore. Hell, maybe I don't recognize myself either. Later that evening, my phone lights up with a message from her. We need to talk. Now. She wants to meet at Romano's, the Italian place where we went on our first date 16 years ago. She calls it neutral ground. Like we're diplomats hashing out a ceasefire instead of two people staring down the end of a marriage. When I get there, she's already seated in a corner booth, still dressed in her work clothes. The same black suit that makes her look powerful enough to buy the place outright if she wanted to. Maybe she actually could now. Thank you for coming, she says as I slide into the booth across from her. Wouldn't miss it, I reply. It's not every day your wife schedules a formal meeting to talk about her affair. She flinches. It's not like that. Oh, come on, Clara. It's complicated, Ethan. Complicated, I repeat with a hollow laugh. You know what's complicated? Explaining to our daughters why their mom is never home anymore. Figuring out how to pay the mortgage on a short-order cook's paycheck while you're playing house with Ryan Porter. You don't understand, she snaps. When your business collapsed, when we lost everything, you gave up. You stopped fighting for us. For our future. I stare at her. Ryan sees potential in me, she continues. He believes in me. I see, I say quietly. So this is my fault. That's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying, Clara? I ask. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you decided our marriage was a sinking ship and Ryan was your lifeboat. She reaches across the table, trying to take my hand. I pull mine back. I never meant for this to happen, she says softly. But I can't keep pretending everything's okay. I can't keep living a lie. Living a lie. I lean back and really look at her. She's still beautiful, she always has been. But there's something different in her eyes now. Something colder. Sharper. Like she's already moved on and I'm just catching up. How long? I ask. What? How long have you been sleeping with him? She avoids my eyes. How long, Clara? Her voice drops. 3 months. 3 months. 3 months while I worked double shifts to keep the lights on. 3 months while I helped Mia with math homework and drove Lily to soccer practice. 3 months of me holding our family together with duct tape and sheer willpower. I want a divorce, she says. I figured, I answer. What about the girls? I ask. Joint custody, of course. But I think it might be better if you moved out for a while. Just temporarily. Until we figure things out. Better for who? For everyone. The girls are already asking questions. So it'll be easier if Daddy just disappears, I say. That way you and Ryan can play happy family. It's not like that. But it is, I say. And you know it. Clara has made her choice. She chose the man with money and momentum over the man who used to make her laugh until she cried. She chose the future over the past. I'll need some time to find a place, I say. Of course, she replies quickly. Take all the time you need. How generous. How kind of her to give me time to gather the wreckage of my life and relocate it somewhere else. That night, I sleep in the guest room. Clara doesn't come home until after midnight, and when she does, she smells like Ryan's cologne. The next morning, I start hunting for an apartment I can afford on a bartender's income. I find a one-bedroom above a hardware store on Mill Street. No heat worth talking about. Neighbors who blast music until 3 in the morning. But it's mine, or it will be once I scrape together first month's rent and a deposit. That Tuesday, Mrs. Nolan comes into Leo's like she always does. Black coffee. Same stool. Same exact tip. But something about her seems different tonight, smaller somehow. You look exhausted, dear, she says. Wife wants a divorce, I tell her. I'm moving out this weekend. I'm sorry to hear that, she says gently. Endings are never easy, even when they're necessary. She stirs her coffee, lost in thought. I was married once. Long time ago. My Edward. What happened to him? Cancer, she says. Took him fast. In a strange way, that was a mercy. Then she looks up at me. But before Edward, there was someone else. A man I loved completely. I listen. His family didn't think I was good enough. They split us apart, sent him away. He married someone else. Had children. I heard he passed a few years ago. I'm sorry, I say. Don't be, she replies. That's life. We make our choices, and then we live with them. She stands to leave, pausing for a moment. Sometimes, she says, the people who hurt us the most are the ones who regret it the longest. That weekend, I move into my new apartment. Lily and Mia help carry boxes upstairs, their faces serious and confused. They don't understand why Daddy needs a new place. Or why Mommy cries when she thinks no one's watching. Is this because of us? Lily asks while we set up my bed. No, sweetheart, I say. This is because grown-ups make mistakes. And sometimes mistakes come with consequences. She hesitates. Are you and Mom getting divorced? I could lie. I could say everything will work out. That this is temporary. But Lily is 12. She deserves honesty. Yeah, I admit. We probably are. She nods slowly, like she already knew. You'll still be our dad, right? Always, I tell her. No matter what happens between your mom and me, you and Mia will always be the best thing I ever did. That night, alone in my apartment, I sit on my second-hand couch and drink a beer that tastes like disappointment. Through the thin walls, I hear my neighbors arguing about money, unpaid bills, all the tiny betrayals that pile up into a life. My phone buzzes. The girls are asking when you're coming home. What should I tell them? I type out a dozen replies. Delete every one. Finally, I send, tell them the truth. But even as I hit send, I realize I don't know what the truth is anymore. That their mother fell in love with someone else? That their father wasn't enough to keep his family together? That sometimes love just isn't enough? That people grow into different versions of themselves? That fairy tales don't always end happily, sometimes they just end, and everyone walks away carrying their own pieces? The honest truth is, I'm not even sure what the truth means anymore. 3 weeks into my new reality, part-time dad, full-time disappointment, Clara and Ryan decide to make their official public appearance at Lily's school science fair. They walk in together like they rehearsed it. Ryan's hand rests comfortably on Clara's back, and they're both smiling wide, like they're posing for a glossy magazine feature on power couples. I'm standing near the refreshment table, scooping punch and hoping to disappear into the wallpaper when they enter. The room goes quiet. Every conversation stalls. Every head turns. Clara Harper, recently separated, has arrived with her new boyfriend. The Millbrook Elementary rumor mill spins up instantly. Ethan. Ryan walks over and sticks out his hand like we're old buddies meeting after years apart. Good to see you. I look at his hand. Then I look at his face. He's wearing that smooth, professional smile, the kind that wins cases and seals expensive deals. But behind it, I catch something else. Tension. Recognition. He remembers the car. He remembers the note. Ryan, I say, not taking his hand. How's the BMW? His smile twitches. Got it fixed. Insurance covered most of it. That's good, I say. Would hate to see a man's pride and joy get scratched up. Clara steps up beside him, wearing a dress that probably costs more than my rent. Ethan, you look, she pauses, searching. Tired. Working 2 jobs will do that, I reply. But I'm sure you wouldn't know much about that. The jab lands. Clara's face colors, and she glances around to see who might be listening. Turns out everyone. Millbrook Elementary parents are getting dinner theater tonight. Maybe we should focus on the kids, Ryan says, trying to sound calm. Great idea, I answer. Where are they, by the way? He hesitates. Oh right, I continue. They're with me every other weekend and Wednesdays. The rest of the time they're with their mom and her friend. Now Ryan's annoyed. Good. Look, Ethan, he says, lowering his voice. I understand this is difficult for you. Difficult? I laugh, loud enough that a few heads turn. You think this is difficult? I step closer. Difficult is explaining to your 8-year-old why mommy doesn't live with daddy anymore. Difficult is pouring drinks at a dive bar to pay child support while your wife shows up on your arm with the guy who helped wreck your marriage. That's enough, Clara snaps, her voice tight with embarrassment. You're making a scene. Am I? I ask. Because it seems to me like you two made the scene. I'm just narrating it. That's when Lily tugs on my sleeve. Dad, she whispers. People are staring. I look down at her. See the worry on her face. And suddenly, the anger drains out of me, replaced by shame. This isn't her burden to carry. You're right, sweetheart, I say softly. Let's go look at your project. As we walk away, I hear Ryan murmur, maybe we should leave. But they don't. They stay for the entire event, smiling and shaking hands, accepting quiet congratulations from people who don't know the whole story. And I stay too, playing the polite ex-husband, pretending my chest isn't cracking open every time I see them together. Later that night, Leo finds me sitting alone at the bar after closing, staring into a whiskey like it's holding answers. Rough night? He asks. Leo Romano is 72 and has owned this place for 40 years. He's seen every flavor of heartbreak walk through these doors. Somehow, he's still got faith in people. You could say that, I tell him. Want to talk about it? So I do. I tell him about the science fair. About Clara and Ryan. About the way people looked at me like I was a charity case. Leo listens. Doesn't interrupt. Just tops off my glass when it runs low. You know what your problem is, Ethan? He asks. Please, I say. Enlighten me. You're fighting on their terms. They want you to be the bitter ex. The guy who can't let go. He leans closer. Every time you take the bait, every time you lose your cool, you're playing the part they wrote for you. So what? I ask. I'm supposed to smile and wave while they tear down everything I built? No, he says firmly. You're supposed to write your own story. Meaning? Stop reacting, Leo says. Start acting. Make them react to you. He pauses. The real power isn't anger, it's reclaiming control of your own life. That thought sticks with me as I walk home through Millbrook's empty streets. The old mills rise against the night sky like sleeping giants, ghosts of a time when this city built things that lasted. Now it's chain stores, fast food, and guys like Ryan Porter making money by moving numbers around. But maybe Leo's right. Maybe it's time I stopped being the victim in this story and started being the author. Mrs. Nolan doesn't come in the next Tuesday. Or the one after that. I ask around. No one knows anything. Her big Victorian on Elm Street stays dark, newspapers piling up on the porch. Then, during the lunch rush on Thursday, a man in an expensive suit walks into Leo's. He looks like someone who bills by the hour and has never worried about rent in his life. Are you Ethan Harper? He asks. Depends who's asking. He hands me a card. Benjamin Reed. Attorney for the estate of Margaret Nolan. I need to speak with you privately. My stomach drops. Is she? I'm afraid Mrs. Nolan passed away in her sleep Tuesday night, he says. I'm very sorry. I only knew her for a few months, but the loss hits harder than I expect. She was the one person who looked at me and saw something worth saving. What did you want to talk about? I ask. Perhaps outside, he says. We sit in his Mercedes, engine running, classical music drifting softly through the speakers. Reed opens his briefcase and pulls out a thick folder. Mrs. Nolan left very clear instructions about her estate, Reed says evenly. The house. The investments. The artwork. All of it. He pauses. It's all been left to you, Mr. Harper. I just stare at him. That's not possible. I barely knew her. According to her will, he continues, you reminded her of someone deeply important to her. Someone she loved very much. He hands me a sealed envelope. She wanted you to have this. Inside are two things, a photograph and a letter. The photo shows a young man in work clothes standing beside a half-built house. Dark hair. Broad shoulders. A jaw set in pure stubbornness. He looks exactly like me. The letter is written in Mrs. Nolan's neat, careful handwriting. Dear Ethan. If you're reading this, then I'm gone, and I imagine you're very confused. The man in the photograph is Oliver Harper. Your grandfather. We were engaged to be married in 1952. His family disapproved of me. They sent him away and told him I had married someone else. I never saw him again. I later learned he moved to California, married, and had children. Your father was one of them. Oliver passed away 5 years ago. But I kept track of his family. When you moved to Millbrook, I knew immediately who you were. You have his eyes. His stubborn nature. His good heart. I never had children of my own. Edward and I tried for years, but it wasn't meant to be. So I'm leaving everything to you, the grandson of the only man I ever truly loved. Use it wisely. Use it to build something better from the rubble of what came before. All my love. Margaret. I look up. Reed is watching me closely, his expression professional and unreadable. The estate is valued at approximately $43 million, he says. The house alone is worth $8 million. There are also stocks, bonds, artwork, and liquid assets. $43 million. I make $18,000 a year flipping burgers and wiping tables. This is more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. There has to be a mistake, I say. There isn't, Reed replies. Mrs. Nolan was extremely precise. He closes the folder. The transfer process is already underway. Everything should be accessible within 30 days. I sit there in his Mercedes, air conditioning humming softly, holding the photo of a grandfather I never knew, trying to understand how my entire reality just tilted sideways. Yesterday, I was Ethan Harper, failed contractor, separated husband, exhausted father, bartender on the side. Today, I'm Ethan Harper, millionaire. But I don't tell anyone. Not Clara. Not the girls. Not even Leo. I go back to work. Back to my lousy apartment. Back to my life like nothing has changed. Because nothing has changed. Not yet. But it will. That night, lying on my bed and staring at the cracked ceiling, I start planning. For the first time since my company collapsed, since Clara asked for a divorce, since everything fell apart, I feel something I thought was gone for good. Hope. Not the kind that waits around wishing for miracles. The kind that makes them. The kind that builds something new out of ashes. The kind that gets revenge. The first thing I do with my new fortune is a nothing. For 2 weeks, I keep working at Leo's. Keep sleeping in my sad little apartment. Keep playing the role of the broke, defeated ex-husband. But now I'm watching. I'm studying Clara and Ryan. Clara's schedule is predictable to the minute. Gym at 6. Office by 8. Lunch at that overpriced bistro on Main. Back to work until evening. Then either home with the girls or out with Ryan. Weekends belong to Ryan, except when she has the girls, which she treats like an obligation instead of a gift. Ryan's life runs on an even tighter script. Same gym as Clara. 45 minutes exactly. Office at his father's firm. Lunch at the country club. Evenings split between clients and Clara. He lives in a condo in one of the converted mills, exposed brick, steel fixtures, and a desperate midlife crisis vibe. I start observing them. Not stalking, just learning. Patterns. Habits. Weak spots. And I notice something important. They aren't as happy as they pretend. One morning, parked outside the gym, I watch them argue. Clara storms out. Ryan grabs her arm. She shakes him off and drives away. Ryan stands there in the lot, staring after her like a man realizing his shiny new prize comes with complications. That afternoon, I make my first move. I walk into Porter, Davis and Associates wearing my best shirt and my only tie. The receptionist, young, bored, flawless nails, doesn't bother looking up. I'm here to see Ryan Porter, I say. Do you have an appointment? Tell him Ethan Harper is here, I reply. He'll see me. 5 minutes later, Ryan appears. Expensive suit. Tight smile. Ethan, this is unexpected. I was nearby, I say. Thought we should talk. He leads me into his office, all leather, polished wood, and city views. The kind of room that screams power. What can I do for you, he asks, settling behind his desk. You can stop sleeping with my wife. His face flushes. Ex-wife. And what Clara and I do is none of your business. Actually, it is, I say calmly. We're not divorced yet. That means she's still my wife. I lean in. And you're still the guy who's been sleeping with her for the last 4 months. Ryan swallows. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't want you to say anything, I reply. I want you to listen. I know about the hotels. The weekend trips. The credit card you gave her, the one she uses for clothes, jewelry, and all the things that make her feel important. The color drains from his face. How do you know that? Because I pay attention, I say. While you two were playing house, I was watching. Learning. He exhales slowly. What do you want? Right now? I say, standing up. Nothing. But that can change, I say. Because I'm not the same man I was 6 months ago. I'm not the washed-up contractor living on leftovers and gratitude. I straighten up. I'm something else now, I continue. Something you should probably be worried about. I stand, adjust my tie, and offer a thin smile. Give Clara my regards. Tell her I said hello. That night, Clara calls me. She's furious, which tells me I hit exactly where I aimed. What the hell did you say to Ryan? She snaps. We just talked, I reply calmly. Nothing more. He said you threatened him. Did I? I ask. I don't remember making any threats. I just explained how things are going to work from now on. Ethan, whatever you think you're doing. I'm not thinking, Clara, I interrupt. I'm acting. Big difference. She hangs up. 20 minutes later, my phone rings again. I want to see you tonight. I'm working. Then this can't wait. We meet behind Leo's, in the dimly lit parking lot. Clara steps out of a brand new Lexus, probably Ryan's idea of romance. She's wearing jeans and a sweater, hair pulled back, no makeup. She looks younger like this. More like the woman I married. You need to stop, she says immediately. Stop what? Whatever game you're playing. Ryan is talking about a restraining order. For what? I ask. I didn't threaten him. I didn't touch him. I talked. You're scaring him. Good, I say. Maybe he should be scared. I step closer. Maybe you should be too. She looks at me like I'm someone she doesn't recognize. What happened to you? You happened, I say. You. Ryan. This entire mess you created. I take a breath. You want to know what changed? I woke up. I realized being the nice guy, the understanding ex, the bigger man, none of that counts. The only thing that matters is winning. This isn't a game, she snaps. This is our life. The girl's life. You should have thought about that before you started sleeping with your boss's son. She lashes out, crossing a line neither of us can ignore. The sound echoes off the brick walls. I touch my cheek and smile. Feel better? I hate you. No, I say quietly. You hate yourself. You hate what you've become. You hate that you traded 15 years of marriage for a guy with a BMW and expensive suits. She shakes her head. And deep down, I continue, you know you made a mistake. That's not true. Isn't it? I ask. When's the last time Ryan made you laugh? I mean really laugh, not that polite party laugh? She says nothing. When's the last time he held you when you were scared? Or stayed up all night when one of the girls was sick? When's the last time he made you feel like you were the most important person in the world? Her eyes fill with tears. For just a second, I see her, the woman I fell in love with. The one who danced barefoot in the kitchen. The one who left notes in my lunchbox. It's too late, she whispers. Maybe, I say. But it doesn't have to be too late for the girls. And it doesn't have to be too late for you to do the right thing. What do you want from me? I want you to remember who you were, before the money, before Ryan, before you decided that happy wasn't enough. She wipes her eyes, squares her shoulders. The moment passes. I can't go back, Ethan. I won't. Then we're done talking. She gets into her car and drives away, leaving me alone with my anger, my plans, and $43 million she knows nothing about. Yet. But she will. The call comes Wednesday morning while I'm opening Leo's. "Mr. Harper," Reed says, his voice upbeat. "The estate has been fully settled. All assets are now in your name." "How wealthy am I?" I ask. "There was a final adjustment," he says. "Some investments exceeded expectations. The total value is now $47 million. $47 million. I own the Victorian on Elm Street. A portfolio of stocks and bonds. 3 rental properties. And enough liquid cash to buy half this town twice." "One more thing," Reed adds. "Mrs. Nolan left instructions about discretion. She was concerned people might try to take advantage of you. She suggested keeping this private until you're ready to use it strategically." Smart woman even from the grave. That afternoon, I drive to Elm Street and walk through my house. It feels like stepping into a museum. Original floors. Crystal chandeliers. Oil paintings worth more than most people make in a year. Margaret had taste and the money to indulge it. In the master bedroom, I find a hidden safe behind a portrait of my grandfather. Inside, photographs. Letters. A journal she kept for 60 years. I read for hours her regrets, her hopes, the life she wished she'd had. She never stopped loving Oliver Harper. Never stopped wondering what could have been. The final entry is dated a week before her death. "I saw Ethan tonight. He looks just like Oliver did, lost and angry. His wife is destroying him the same way Oliver's family destroyed us. But Ethan has something Oliver didn't. He has a chance to fight back. I hope he takes it. I hope he makes them pay." I close the journal and look around the room. Margaret gave me this chance. This power. She wanted me to succeed where my grandfather couldn't. I won't waste it. That evening, I'm working at Leo's when Ryan walks in. He looks tense, scanning the room like he's expecting trouble. He orders a scotch and sits silently for 10 minutes. "Finally, we need to talk." "I'm working." "After you close." "No," I say. "You and I are done." He pulls out his phone and shows me a picture. It's me. Sitting in my truck outside his condo. "This is stalking," he says. "It's illegal." I study the photo. Then look at him. "Is that your truck?" "What?" "The truck in the picture," I repeat. "Is it yours?" "No, it's..." "Then how do you know it's me?" "That could have been anyone sitting in that truck. Could have been a private investigator. Could have been some guy you owe money to. Could have even been someone whose wife you're sleeping with." Ryan's face flushes bright red. "I'm warning you," he says. "You're warning me?" I laugh out loud. "Ryan, you don't have the slightest idea who you're dealing with. You really think I'm still that worn-out loser who's going to roll over and let you take my family? You honestly believe I'll just fade away so you and Clara can play house and live happily ever after?" He fires back that I'm just a bitter man who can't accept his marriage is over. I pour myself a drink and don't rush it. Let him stew. "You know what's funny, Ryan?" I say calmly. "You think you won. You think you got the prize. But Clara isn't a prize. She's a woman who walked away from 15 years of marriage because she got bored. And if she did it once, what makes you so sure she won't do it again to you?" He sneers and says he can give her things I never could. "Like what?" I ask. "Money? Status? A fancy BMW?" I shake my head. "You're not giving her anything. You're buying her. Big difference." "At least I can afford to," he says. "And what can you offer?" he adds. "A life flipping burgers and scraping by paycheck to paycheck?" I smile. "You'd be surprised what I can offer." Something in my voice makes him hesitate. What's that supposed to mean? It means things change, I tell him. People change. Situations change. And the guy you think you're dealing with? He doesn't exist anymore. Ryan finishes his drink, slaps a 20 on the bar. Stay away from me. Stay away from Clara. And stay away from my building. Or what? Or you'll learn what happens when you mess with people who have real power. He leaves, trying to look confident. Leo walks over and starts wiping glasses. Friend of yours, he asks. Something like that, I say. He seemed nervous. He should be. The next morning, I make a call to a private investigator named Isabella Cruz. She isn't cheap, but she's discreet and damn good at what she does. I hire her to dig into Ryan Porter's life, his money, his habits, his past. If I'm going to ruin him, I need the full picture. 3 days later, she calls me back. Your guy Ryan has some interesting skeletons, she says. Want to meet? We sit down at a coffee shop downtown. Isabella slides a thick folder across the table. Ryan Porter. 46. Divorced. One kid he barely sees. Gambling problem. Owes money to some very unpleasant people. He's been skimming from client accounts to cover his losses. Does his father know? No. Not yet. But it's only a matter of time. How deep is he? About 200 grand so far. He's careful, but not careful enough. I flip through the folder. Bank statements. Casino receipts. Photos of Ryan meeting men who look like they make a living breaking bones. There's more, Isabella says. He's been married 3 times. First wife left him for cheating. Second left him over gambling. Third left him for both. What about Clara? I ask. Does she know? Isabella shakes her head. Unlikely. He's been very good at keeping his mess separate from her. I close the folder. The picture is clear now. Ryan Porter isn't the stable, successful man Clara thinks she's getting. He's a liar, a thief, and a gambling addict, one bad night away from losing everything. But I'm not telling Clara yet. First, I let Ryan dig a little deeper. Then I bury him in the hole he made. Good work, I tell Isabella. Keep watching him. I want to know everything, every call, every meeting, every move. This is going to get expensive, she warns. I smile. Don't worry about the money. I can afford it. 2 weeks later, it all comes to a head at Lily's soccer game. It's one of those perfect Saturday mornings that makes you believe in fresh starts and second chances. Clara and Ryan sit together in the bleachers, putting on a happy little show for the other parents. I'm on the sideline cheering for Lily when I hear Ryan behind me. Nice turnout, he says. I turn around. He's dressed in khakis and a polo, trying hard to look like a suburban dad. But I see the stress in his eyes. I notice the slight shake in his hands when he thinks no one's watching. The debts are catching up. Lily loves having an audience, I say. She's a great kid. They both are, he says. I'd do anything for them. I'm sure you would. He steps closer and lowers his voice. Look, Ethan. I think we started off on the wrong foot. Clara and I were serious. This isn't a fling. We're talking about getting married once the divorce is final. Married? I nod slowly, like I'm impressed. That's a big step. You sure you're ready for that kind of responsibility? He stiffens. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I say casually. Just that marriage comes with financial responsibility. And from what I hear, you've got some pretty pricey hobbies. Now he's sweating. I don't know what you think you know. I know you owe Adrian Rossi $40,000. I know you've been stealing from client accounts to pay off gambling debts. And I know your father would disown you if he found out. Ryan turns white. You're bluffing. Am I? I pull out my phone and show him a photo. This was taken last Tuesday night. Casino downtown. You lost 8 grand playing blackjack. He stares at the screen. How did you? I told you, Ryan, I say quietly. I'm not the man I was 6 months ago. I'm not the broken contractor grateful for scraps. I'm someone you should have left alone. He glances around to make sure no one's listening. What do you want? I want you gone, I say. You break things off with Clara. You quit your job. You leave town. You stay the hell away from my family. And if I don't? Then the people who matter most will learn the truth about your actions. And certain dangerous people would suddenly know exactly where you are. Then Clara finally gets a glimpse of the kind of man she's really been sharing a bed with. Ryan looks at me like I'm something out of a nightmare. Maybe I am. Or maybe this is just what happens when someone stops letting people walk all over him. You can't prove any of this, he says. Can't I? I reply, pulling up another photo, this one showing him meeting with one of Adrian Rossi's collectors. Then I mention the bank records, the casino footage, the witness statements. I've got it all, Ryan. Every last piece. This is blackmail. No, I say calmly. This is consequences. You made your choices. Now you get to live with them. The game is over. Lily's team wins, and she comes sprinting over, wrapping her arms around me like she always does. Clara and Ryan walk up together. Clara's smiling. Ryan looks like he might throw up. Great game, sweetheart, Clara says, hugging Lily. We're so proud of you. Thanks, Mom. Lily looks up at Ryan. Did you see my goal? I did, he says, forcing a smile. It was amazing. We should celebrate, Clara says. Lunch at Romano's? Actually, Ryan cuts in, I need to head out. Work stuff. Clara frowns. On a Saturday? Big case, he says quickly. You understand. He kisses her cheek, gives me a stiff nod, and walks away. I watch him go, knowing deep down that this is probably the last time he'll ever be part of my family's life. That night, Clara calls me. Something's wrong with Ryan, she says. He's been off all week. Distant. Nervous. Maybe he's having second thoughts. About what? About us. About the divorce. About breaking up a family. That's not it, she insists. Something else is bothering him. I could tell her everything, the gambling, the debts, the stolen money, but that would be too easy. Too clean. I want Ryan to feel the way I felt. I want him twisting in the dark. I'm sure it's nothing, I tell her. Ryan's a grown man. He'll figure it out. But he doesn't. Over the next few days, I watch him unravel. He stops going to the gym. Starts drinking during lunch. Snaps at coworkers. Misses meetings. Makes sloppy mistakes. Clara notices. She starts pushing for answers. Ryan gets defensive, then angry, then desperate. Thursday night, he calls me. We need to meet. No, we don't. Please, he says. I'm begging you. We meet at a bar across town, the kind of place where nobody knows you and nobody cares. Ryan's already there when I arrive, 3 drinks in and looking wrecked. You're ruining my life, he says. No, Ryan. You did that yourself. I'm just making sure the truth catches up with you. What do you want? He asks. Money? I'll pay you. With what? I say. You're broke. Worse than broke. You owe money to men who make a living breaking bones. He buries his face in his hands. I never meant for this to happen. Which part? I ask. Stealing from your clients? Gambling away your future? Or sleeping with my wife? I love her, he says. No, you don't, I tell him. You love what she represents. Stability. Success. A way out of the hole you dug for yourself. That's not love. And you know what love is? I know what it isn't, I say. It isn't lying. It isn't stealing. And it isn't destroying someone else's family because you're too weak to fix your own mess. He looks up at me, eyes red and hollow. What if I leave? What if I break it off with Clara, quit my job, disappear? Will you leave me alone? Maybe, I say. Depends how believable you are. Believable? You need to make Clara think this was her idea. Make her believe she's better off without you. Can you do that? He nods, miserable. When? Soon, I say. This weekend. And Ryan? I add. Make it convincing. Because if you ever try to come back into our lives, I'll make sure the consequences follow you everywhere. The next night, Clara calls me sobbing. He broke up with me, she cries. Ryan broke up with me. What happened? He said he wasn't ready. Said he needed space. Said I deserved better. I'm sorry. Are you? She snaps. Or are you happy your plan worked? What plan? Don't play dumb, Ethan. This has you written all over it. What did you do to him? I didn't have to do anything, I say. Ryan showed you who he really is. I don't believe you. Believe whatever you want, I say. But ask yourself this: if Ryan truly loved you, would anything I said have mattered? Would he have walked away so easily? She hangs up, but I know the thought sticks. She's replaying it over and over. Wondering if she made a terrible mistake. 3 days later, Ryan Porter leaves town. He quits his father's firm, sells his condo, pays off what debts he can, and disappears. I hear he moved to Florida, found a small job, started attending Gamblers Anonymous. Clara tries calling him. His number's disconnected. She goes to his condo, it's empty. She goes to his office, they tell her he's gone. No address. No goodbye. The man she blew up her marriage for ran the moment things got hard. Now she's alone. No husband. No boyfriend. Just 2 confused daughters and a lifetime of regret. But I'm not finished. Not even close. With Ryan gone, Clara tries to rebuild. She buries herself in work. Spends more time with the girls. Even suggests counseling. But that ship sailed. The trust is gone. The damage can't be undone. And I've got other plans. I start making small, noticeable changes. Better clothes. A newer truck. Just enough to suggest things are improving. When people ask, I tell them I got promoted at Leo's. Picked up some handyman work on the side. The truth is a lot more complicated. Quietly, without drawing attention, I buy 3 buildings in downtown Millbrook, including the one that houses Clara's law firm. I invest in the country club where she likes to eat lunch. Without anyone realizing it, I become a major player in this town. And this? This is only the beginning. But I'm still sleeping in my crappy apartment. Still working at Leo's. Still playing the role of the down-on-his-luck ex-husband. Because the best revenge isn't just winning. It's making sure the people who hurt you understand deep in their bones that they lost. The first real crack in Clara's carefully rebuilt image comes when her law firm starts having financial problems. Porter, Davis & Associates has been bleeding clients since Ryan disappeared, and his father has started asking some very uncomfortable questions about missing money. Clara, as Ryan's former colleague and very public girlfriend, suddenly finds herself under scrutiny. They're acting like I knew, she tells me during one of our painfully polite coffee meetings. Like I was somehow involved in whatever Ryan was doing. Were you? Of course not, she says quickly. If I had known he was gambling, stealing, her voice trails off as the reality hits her. God, Ethan. What if I had married him? What if I'd tied my future to his mess? But you didn't, I say calmly. Because he ran. Because when things got hard, he disappeared. She stares down into her cup. You knew, didn't you? You knew what kind of man he was. I suspected. And you didn't tell me. Would you have believed me? She thinks about it. Then quietly admits, probably not. Some lessons, I say, you only learn the hard way. The second crack comes when the money runs out. Without Ryan's credit cards and quiet bailouts, Clara can't afford the life she'd grown used to. The fancy dinners. The designer clothes. The Lexus in the driveway. It turns out all of it had been paid for with money Ryan didn't actually have. Now the bills are due. The Lexus gets sold. The condo becomes too expensive. She moves into a smaller apartment and starts shopping at discount stores instead of boutiques. The women who once invited her to wine nights and charity luncheons suddenly stop returning her calls. I feel so stupid, she tells me one afternoon. I really thought I was trading up. A better life. A better future. It wasn't all fake, I say. She looks at me, surprised. What do you mean? You're still a good lawyer. You're still a good mother. And underneath everything, you're still the woman I fell in love with. Hope flickers in her eyes. Dangerous hope. Do you think, she hesitates? Is there any chance we could try again? Slowly. Carefully. For the girls? This is the moment she's been moving toward. The moment she realizes what she threw away. The moment she wants back in. I don't think so, I say. Her face crumples. Why not? Because you didn't just cheat, Clara. You didn't just have an affair. You made a decision. You looked at our 15 years together, our daughters, our life, and decided it wasn't enough. That I wasn't enough. I made a mistake. No, I correct gently. You made a choice. And choices have consequences. She breaks down then. Not graceful tears. Not pretty ones. Just raw, ugly sobs from someone who knows she ruined her own life. I'm sorry, she whispers. I'm so sorry. I know you are, I say. But sorry doesn't fix what you broke. Sorry doesn't give me back the nights I lay awake wondering what was wrong with me. Sorry doesn't give our girls their family back. So what now, she asks weakly. We just give up? We move forward, I say. Separately. We co-parent. We're civil. And we build new lives. What kind of life can I build, she asks bitterly. I'm 40. I'm broke. Everyone in this town knows what I did. Then maybe it's time to leave, I say. She looks up sharply. You want me to leave? I want you to be happy. But if staying here means being miserable, and worse, if it means the girls growing up watching their mother drown in regret, maybe a fresh start somewhere else makes sense. That night, she calls me. There's a job opening in Portland, she says. Corporate law. Good money. A clean slate. I could take the girls. Get them away from all this. No, I say. No? The girls stay here. With me. They're my daughters too. Are they? I ask quietly. Because for 6 months, you treated them like accessories. Something you showed off when it was convenient. That's not fair. Isn't it? When was the last time you helped Mia with homework? Went to Lily's game without Ryan? Put them first? Silence. Finally she whispers, what are you saying? I'm saying you can go. Start over. But the girls stay with me. Full custody. I can't abandon my children. You already did, I say. I'm just making it official. The custody battle drags on for 3 months. Clara fights, but without conviction. She knows what she's lost. The judge awards me full custody. Clara gets visitation. She takes the job in Portland. Calls weekly. Visits occasionally. Sends gifts. But she's not their mother anymore. Not really. She's someone who used to be. 6 months later, sitting at the long oak table in our new home, the Victorian on Elm Street, I finally tell the girls part of the truth. Dad, Lily asks, looking around the chandeliered dining room, how can we afford all this? I set my fork down and smile. That, I say, is a long story. Mia looks around the dining room, her eyes drifting up to the crystal chandelier, then over the oil paintings lining the walls. Yeah, she says. And why didn't we live here before? I set my fork down and look at my daughters. They're good kids. Smart kids. And they deserve the truth, at least the version of it that won't scar them. Do you remember Mrs. Nolan? I ask. The old lady who used to come into Leo's? They nod. She passed away last year. And she left me some money. A lot of money. Enough to buy this house and take care of us. Why? Mia asks. Because I reminded her of someone she loved once. Someone from her family. Lily's eyes widen. So, are we rich? We're comfortable, I say. But that doesn't change what matters. You still do your homework. You still clean your rooms. You still treat people with kindness. Money doesn't make you better. It just gives you more choices. Lily hesitates, then asks the question I've been dreading. Is that why Mom left? Because we didn't have money then? I choose my words carefully. Your mom left because she was unhappy, I say. She thought she could find happiness somewhere else. Sometimes adults make big mistakes and everyone has to live with the consequences. Do you miss her? Mia asks. I miss the woman she used to be, I say honestly. The woman who was your mom before she decided to be someone else. That weekend, Clara comes to visit. It's uncomfortable, showing her around the house that could have been hers, watching her try to reconnect with daughters who are polite but distant, affectionate but guarded. This is quite a place, she says quietly. When did you buy it? A few months ago. It must have cost a fortune. She stops mid-sentence, realization settling in. You had money, she says slowly. When we were getting divorced. When Ryan and I were together. You had money. Yes. How much? Enough. And you didn't tell me. Why would I? I ask. You'd already made your choice. She sinks into one of the antique chairs, stunned. It would have changed everything. Would it? I ask. Or would you have just tried to take half of it? She doesn't answer. You let me make a fool of myself, she says at last. You did that on your own, I reply. I didn't force you to cheat. I didn't force you to leave. You could have. Could have what? I interrupt. Bought you back? Proven I was worthy by showing you my bank balance? That's not what I meant. Isn't it? I say calmly. If money would have kept you faithful, then you never loved me. You loved security. Status. Comfort. Not me. That's not true, she insists. Then why did you leave? She hesitates. Then says it. Because I thought Ryan could give me a better life. There it is. You thought he could give you something I couldn't, I say. You decided love wasn't enough. That our family wasn't enough. That I wasn't enough. She starts crying again. I ruined everything, she whispers. Yes, I say. You did. Is there any way to fix it? You could have asked that a year ago, I say. Before you blew up our family for a man you barely knew. I was stupid. Yes, I say. And selfish. She leaves shortly after. Later that night, Lily finds me in the study, flipping through Mrs. Nolan's old photo albums. "Dad," she asks softly, "are you okay?" "I'm fine." "Do you still love Mom?" I think about it. "I love who she used to be," I say. "But that woman doesn't exist anymore. Will she ever come back?" "I don't know," I admit. "People can change. But only if they really want to." Lily nods, thoughtful. That night, alone in my study, I think about revenge. I got what I wanted. Clara lost her marriage, her lover, her place in her daughter's lives. Ryan lost his job, his reputation, his future. And me? I won. So why does it feel like this? Maybe because revenge isn't about winning. It's about making sure everyone loses. And in the end, they did. Even me. But I can live with that. Because sometimes the villain is just the one willing to do what no one else will. And sometimes, that's the only way the story ends.